because I've given an offering, I've given a sacrificial offering, you know, I have paid my tithes and offerings, I have fasted, I have prayed, I have trusted God, and I've done all that I know to do, except laid the truth out on the table, except communicate what's really going on inside of me, which means that you're going to have to take some responsibility as well, which also means we're going to have to work this thing together, which also means we may have to bring a third party in so that we can hear.
If that person is willing to do that.
Key word, if that person is willing. You cannot do it alone.
So were you willing, did you finally get to the point where you did talk about it?
Oh, absolutely. I was the one going to counseling. You know, I was something wrong with me. So, you know, I'm the one that's going to counseling. Yeah. I remember sitting in a session and I was there by myself, which was typical. So I'm sitting in the session and I'm listening to all these things that I need to do. Well, I came to a point where I said, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore.
Wow. You know, I want to say this for the record. We're not bashing anyone.
Absolutely.
We're not bashing BeBe Winans. I personally, I know of him. We've passed ways and we always speak and say hi and we're very cordial. It's very nice. But we're talking about your experience right now, and in no way are you bashing BeBe Winans or trying to pull him down, or it's not that type of party.
That's
but
right.
Your experience is, I lost myself. I'm trying to be this perfect wife, but I'm not happy and I'm not being attended to. And I know as a woman, I like a lot of attention.
Don't we all?
I like a lot of attention.
Stroke me, baby. Tell me something. You know, say my name. Something.
I like you. And I like a lot of attention, and I want to be called throughout the day.
Sure.
I want texts and nice things said. I would send me a gift in the mail, you know, whatever. And I like that. I don't think anything's wrong with that. But when there's a lack of that and we don't have that, and we're nurturers by design.
So absolutely.
That's how God created us. So we're used to doing little stuff and, hey, baby, I sent you this. And when it's not reciprocated, and we're kind of just left by the wayside, and we're going, hey, you know, that could get a little crazy.
It's just like having a bank account. You keep withdrawing. Yeah. You withdrawing till there is nothing.
Right.
And we fool ourselves as women thinking we are every woman. Wow. That's a lie. We are not. We can multitask. Yeah. We know how to do it. We can bring home the bacon, and we can do it. We can do 10 things at one time. That we're good at that. Yes. However, when it comes to our emotional nurturing, our emotional being, it takes someone else to pour into you.
That's good.
Let me say this. It forced me to go back to God's original intent for Debra. It forced me to go back to his word. Oh, we quote it all the time. I'm wonderfully and fearfully made. Yeah. He knew me before the foundation of the earth. Right. I mean, we quote it all the time, but I didn't believe it anymore. Right. Because I began to look in the mirror and not really like what I saw. Wow. Because I was saying, where are you in this, God? Where are you? Right. And I began to learn that he truly is sovereign. Right. When I really got in his word and I really started looking, you know, the word of God is a mirror. And he started pulling up those areas in Debra that needed to be dealt with. Wow. My own pride, my own anger, my own unforgiveness, my own bitterness, my own shame. Wow. Having to really look at that. And what I love about God is he's so gracious. You know, he will pull your stuff up and show you in a minute, and it is not pretty.
No, it's not. He's
not like man who just dogs you. Right. But he really helps you to see, even though I've laid this in front of you, this is not who you are. Wow. These are things that I need you to work on so that you can become who I've called you to become. Wow. It's easy to write all the bad stuff in a book. That's easy to do. I can write the smut. I got plenty for you. Wow. But it takes character and integrity to not write the bad stuff. Wow. But to say, as I walk through my journey, I learned that life really is not over. It's just been altered.
I can't skirt around the fact that recently it came up over the internet, you know, throughout the news or media outlets, that there was an altercation.
Yes.
What was that about? It's very sketchy. It was said that you were talking about you were going through a custody, having a conversation about your kids, and you were pushed.
This has been I've been divorced since 2003.
Yeah.
I was legally separated, I believe, 2 years prior. For some reason, I'm not even sure what the reasons are. There's been a consistency of trying to get custody of the children. I'm a good mother.
Yeah.
I love my children. I have never withheld the children from BeBe.
Yeah.
That is their father.
That's right.
And that is against the law, okay?
That's right.
So I'm not sure if it is for an image, if it is for whatever the case, but their children are older now, and we have been dealing with this issue, and I have been really quiet on purpose, Lexi.
Yeah, you don't strike me as a in your face Shaniqua in the street.
That is not who I am.
And you don't strike me as that type of
and I have kept my position for two reasons. It's not who I am, and I have two children.
Yeah.
So my position was to protect them as much as I can with my life.
Okay.
Does he love his kids? Absolutely. He loves them, and they love him. But they're getting older now, and I have come to a place in my life where I can't keep silent, because what I have learned is sometimes in your silence, you really create a big problem. We were, it was an honest mistake. I misread my BlackBerry, the calendar, and I thought it was my weekend. And when I realized it was not my weekend, I was like, oh my God, okay, that's my fault. So I texted BeBe and said, I looked at the calendar wrong. I am wrong. I am so sorry. This is how I derived to the misunderstanding. We're 15 minutes away. Now, that doesn't sound like I'm trying to withhold you from your children.
That's right.
Okay? So when I get there, my daughter is upset about a few things. And so she asked me, Mommy, will you walk me outside? And I said, sure. I don't typically walk my children to the car. I stand at the door, wave, and they're gone. Well, walked into the car door, and the rest is history. And we get into this whole big old thing in front of the children. And you start talking to me like I'm crazy. And this person that I have become now doesn't tolerate that any longer. And I'm a good woman, and I'm a good mother, and I should have your respect, and vice versa.
Sure.
And so there was this altercation, you push me to the ground, and we go through this whole thing, and I do what I needed to do, which I should have done a long time ago.
Did you provoke him?
No,
in any way?
I did not.
Did you put your hands on him?
I did. I did. After.
Or before?
After. Because once I was on the ground, you know, it's funny. It's not even funny, but it's like, oh my God, no, he didn't. You know, in front of these children.
Now, what were the children doing?
Because the children were screaming and yelling, and yeah, it was not a pretty situation. Yeah. It really wasn't, because they've not seen it. My son has never seen that. Now, we've got an altercation years prior, and my daughter was there, and she remembered. And I thought it was so interesting that she brought this whole situation back up to me, and I thought, wow. You know, so she remembers. Kids remember.
Yeah.
Kids remember. And so I made a decision. We have been here before, and I filed charges.
Stop right there. When you say we've been here before, there has been physical abuse in your marriage?
There has been physical altercation, yes. And I filed the charges, but at that time.
This was in the marriage?
This is.
That we're speaking of, where you filed the charges?
We were divorced.
Okay, you were divorced.
We were divorced. And I filed the charges, and at that particular time, we were in another custody issue.
Okay.
And he decided to drop the custody. So I decided to drop the assault charges. At that time, I wanted my children more than I wanted him to go to jail.
Right.
So it was a no-brainer to me.
Sure.
Just drop this, which in my opinion was